Hello there, citizens of the Reject Nation. Roxy and I, moments ago, like 5 minutes ago, we just got out of a jam-packed screening for Fantastic Four First Steps. So we are, of course, going to give you our immediate reaction and thoughts. We've only talked about it for like 20 seconds. Before we go into that, I do want to say, Real Rejects has launched another new Fantastic Four First Steps inspired shirt. Take a look at it. You get it? First Steps. If you buy one, it's an amazing way to support the channel over here. If any of you buy, please tag us on social media.
Yeah, Greg.
Share the stories. It'll be a great time. But now let's just go into the review of this.
Should we take our first step into the review?
To the review.
I've been thinking about that for the last minute. So
thanks for bringing your creative juices
you're
here.
welcome. You're welcome.
So, yeah, I mean, the plot of Fantastic Four is pretty straightforward. It takes place in an alt universe, Earth 828, and the Fantastic Four are already established, and Galactus is coming, and they got to defeat him. There's plans, there's machinations, and there's a baby named Franklin Richards, and I read a shit ton of comic books going into this one, so I was primed and ready. Roxy, before watching this, what were your thoughts beforehand?
My thoughts were that I had very low expectations for this movie, and I'm not exactly sure why. It might be because it's only following Superman by 2 weeks, and all the hype was around Superman for me. All the press was around Superman for me. I just wasn't focused on Fantastic Four at all, and so going into this, I kind of was hopeful, but I thought this might not be up my alley. How about you?
Yeah, I was more like, I was a little apathetic about it. Like, I was hopeful. Of course, I wanted it to be good, but it looked like it would be like a good MCU movie. But it didn't look great. It didn't look like like I love the third trailer, but I wasn't like over the moon about enthusiastic. Even though I've been reading all these comics that are getting me more excited, so I went in with a bit of apprehension. And so now that we have watched it, what would be the? Let me ask you this before we give away our full feelings on it. Who was the standout character for you?
I think it was Johnny.
Really, Johnny? Huh? Why? What about Johnny?
Man, first of all, he's hot.
Okay. Yeah, no pun intended.
Thinking of
You're a Joseph Quinn fan.
Yeah, I'm a big Joseph Quinn fan. I
Okay.
think that he was perfectly cast. I think that he is funny, endearing. He had me laugh the hardest of anybody, and I know that that's more his character than some other people, but the way that they played him in this was so different than the previous movies that we've seen. I just think that he nailed it and brought to life a character that I have never cared that much about.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite? Who was the standout for you?
My personal favorite.
Can I guess?
Who? Who do you think it would be?
I think it was Sue.
It actually wasn't Sue.
Who?
It was the one who I thought I would have the hardest time actually seeing.
Ben?
No. Ben would be my second favorite. It was Pedro Pascal. Mr.
He was amazing.
Reed Richards. When I was seeing him in the trailers, there was so much about who he like, and especially liking it to the comics. I was like, I'm not really seeing this, and I feel like I'm only gonna see Pedro Pascal, but he brought so much depth to the stoicism. I thought he was able to bring a lot of that kind of like, I'm smarter than everyone else, but I love the approach of how his real emotional struggle is like emotions. And then dealing with like having a baby like that, the way how he processes being a father, I thought was one of the more fascinating parts about this movie in terms of like character development. Johnny Storm on that note, I thought.
I like that your answer, by the way, you asked me who my favorite character was, and I said, hot. What's yours? And you were like, the emotional arc and development. People pick different favorite characters for different reasons, y'all. Don't come from me.
But I mean,
Johnny.
But Johnny, he was the one who I had actually the hardest time adjusting to because of, like Chris Evans was my introduction to him, and then seeing him in the comics, and he definitely felt very different, and they definitely had a different approach. Like there's kind of a drier, more subdued approach that he takes, but they also lean more into this guy who's kind of shunned, like disregarded for any level of intellect this guy might have. So he's constantly having to prove himself. And I like that they actually lean into showing he's more than just a hot guy.
No, I agree. It's because of all of that. I like that we see him be a little more rash. And he is that way because nobody is listening to him. But he thinks that he could be the leader that he can be, or the type of person that he can be. So we're getting some good stares.
Yeah.
I just think that he had the most to kind of overcome, and I love the choices that he made in this movie as an actor, and the choices that were made by the character to move the plot forward in ways that it really impacted me.
What did you think about Pedro?
I think that Pedro did the most amazing job because well, I think everybody did great, but for him to disappear into this role, I thought would never happen.
Yeah, me too.
I have been watching
Had doubts, yeah.
I've been watching so much Pedro, as every person out there has. I love Pedro just like the rest of you guys, but thinking about him in another role, I was like, I've seen him in 4 things this year. Like, I love this guy, but man, does he sleep because he's always filming. So I just thought that it would kind of be very much like a continuation of The Last of Us or anything that we've been seeing Pedro in.
Yeah.
It wasn't. He didn't even look the same. He looked like cleaner cut, had a little bit of a different voice. He did an excellent job
There's a rhythm to his
right.
voice, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that he did phenomenal. What did you think about Vanessa Kirby?
She's great.
So good.
I mean, like, especially I keep saying from the comics, like as if I'm trying to like prove to you guys.
No, I think
Yeah.
that's a very valid point to come from, though.
She brings a lot of presence, and I prefer this version of her over any of the comic renditions that I read of her.
And any
The
movie iterations as well?
1,000%. Yeah. I mean, like her and Pedro first off have great chemistry. I really bought them as husband and wife.
Incredible, I agree. They actually kinda reminded me of you and Olivia.
I love a tough ass chick, and it doesn't feel like an in your face, like, hey, we are totally revamping her. Like, it feels natural and genuine. She has this one moment in the movie where she gives this very moving speech, and she's got some of the best highlight moments, and there's such a range and versatility to everything that she provides here. But with the female perspective next to me, what did you think?
I'm a huge fan of hers as well, and I thought that this was an excellent casting choice. And then when we started with her, at the beginning, I was like, oh, okay, this is a different voice than we're usually seeing her in. This is a different role. How is she going to embody this character? But she did something that I felt like was very Wonder Woman of her when I first saw the first Wonder Woman movie, where you're like, oh, she's a whole ass woman.
Yeah.
And that means she's many things. That means that she can take care of business. That means that she has a softer side. That means that she really sees people. That means that she cares.
Mhm.
She is very maternal, but she's also incredibly smart and has emotions, and she lets them show. And I think that she might have been the best written of the characters as the most well-rounded.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
really love what they did with her.
I would agree with that, and I love that this movie really demonstrated, like, the motherhood side as a strength, even, like, when she's pregnant as, like, a strength. That was really cool to me.
Ebon Moss Bachrach, how'd you feel?
I adored him. When I read the comics, The Thing is easily the part where I am most engaged, most engrossed.
Really?
Yeah, every time. Like, he's my favorite in the comics, and to me, I was kinda worried when I saw some early social media reactions that weren't really highlighting him, but he's so natural. Like, right after Pedro, I would say he's my second favorite in here, yeah, when you read the comics, you kind of imagine him with a big, like, a rough kinda like how Michael Chiklis was in the first one, but that softness that he brings in the warmth, and I love, like, the way the community sorta treats him, like, they don't look at
Yeah.
him like, "Ah, what the hell are you?" You know? And, yeah, what'd you think of him?
Of the 4 of them, he is the one I am the most interested in seeing more of.
Okay.
Because I think we did see a good amount of him, but I feel like there is another layer there that we didn't really address, which is what happened to him.
I think I would agree that the movie doesn't really explore it's there in the performance.
Right, but that makes
But
sense to me. I think
yeah.
that was the right choice for this movie, but he's the one who I'm like, "Okay, let's dig under those layers of rock and see what actually is going on there." Speaking of people I'm a huge fan of, obviously, I'm a big fan of the Bear. I've been watching him nonstop as well, and everything else that he's done, always have been. So it's really, really cool to see him in this role and get his spotlight the way that all the rest of the, like, big ones come. He's an A-list celebrity now, and I think he really deserves it.
What was the, impact you felt from Galactus?
I had read before this that the Fantastic Four are, like, the least big part of the Fantastic Four movie and that this was a Galactus film. That's what I had heard.
I don't agree with you.
I didn't feel that way at all.
I don't
So I was very happy to feel that way because I was concerned we were gonna watch a Galactus movie, and it was not a Galactus movie. I thought that Galactus was part of this the appropriate amount to still leave us with feelings about the Fantastic Four more than about Galactus.
Yeah.
But I do think that I cared about Galactus, but I cared significantly more about Silver Surfer, which I'm shocked about because I thought that Julia Garner is a top 5 actress right now for me. I think after Ozark, I've obsessively followed her everywhere she's gone, and I thought that she was able to bring that performance to life, which is very tricky to do. And from the trailers, I was like, "Uh-oh, am I not gonna dig Silver
Yeah.
Surfer? Is she not gonna look okay? Like, what is this gonna be?" So I thought that was really interesting that my focus was way more on her than on Galactus. How did you feel?
Well, they give, like, the character development to Silver Surfer. I guess the one hindrance, and this could be from knowing Rise of Silver Surfer, this could be from comics, is that, like, I felt like her story trajectory was one of the more predictable elements of where they would go with Silver Surfer. But that being said, the part that I loved about what they did with Silver Surfer is they really lean into the Herald side, like the Silver Surfer versus Fantastic Four side.
Right.
There's some sequences in this movie that are not in the trailer, and there's one in particular with her. Yeah, there's one in particular with her that I was like, this is really fucking cool that we are getting this scene with her, and that also the connection that her and Johnny are forming, I think is really great. I won't give it away. And but Galactus, this was one where I heard some people being like, Galactus is the shit. Galactus is big and scary and imposing, and
Did you feel that way?
yeah,
Good.
the whoa, like the first time you, hey, good to see you. The first time that you see him, it is like it is kind of scary. Yeah, and then on IMAX, it's really when you get to the finale fight that they keep teasing in the trailer. I was like, damn, this is awesome. It is awesome.
I'm
Yeah.
glad you brought that up, especially because I had heard a lot of people complaining in the trailer that Galactus was super small,
Oh
and Galactus is not super small.
no.
Galactus is larger than life. And I really appreciate how challenging they made Galactus.
Yes, he was a formidable
Yeah.
villain.
To the point where you're wondering to yourself, how on earth
Yeah.
could we actually stop this? And I'm not saying whether we did or didn't, but how could we possibly fight against this person? Because that is like, we're helpless.
There's actual stakes with him.
Right.
Like people constantly like love to point out when Marvel has a villain problem, and I'm like, this movie ain't one of those, right? This is one of the better villains for sure. I thought it was a great villain.
Thank you to HUEL for sponsoring today's video. Now, guys, I'm going to give you all the God's honest truth of how this sponsorship came to be. We got contacted about basically partnering up with HUEL. Before we agreed to anything, the very first thing I said was I would like to try the product first. I did a Instagram post on our Real Rejects one. It was the first time you see me trying the HUEL product. Basically going like, hey, we might not partner with them. This is not a paid Instagram post, but I just wanted to try it since a lot of you guys asked for like health recommendations now and to know kind of what I take only because of the fact that I'm vegetarian and I have very limited protein options. So I gave it a shot and ended up loving it. Primarily the chocolate one. Wow, this is a really great one. One of the best things about it is that, yes, it's prepackaged, and a lot of times when it comes to like the prepackaged bottles, I'm not a big fan of them normally. What you got me drinking on camera is one of these, which takes a very long time to put together and can often get messy, and it's just not aesthetically pleasing, but I'm trying to pack like a lot of vitamins and fiber, protein. The best part about HUEL is a lot of what I try to pack into this one giant shake is already available in this little bottle. Often tastes better than what I can actually assemble myself. It actually tastes great. It's got a high protein intake count as well. And you know what? Brand new bottle. If you guys can see, it's filled to the top. This is how good it tastes. Now, normally, what you want to do is spread it out. But if you want it in one go, it is just as good. It tastes really freaking good. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video. The one thing they want me to say is you can get 15% off HUEL today with code REJECTS at HUEL.com/rejects. Fuel your best performance with HUEL today. They are great, and I am already almost out of the many bottles they sent me. If you guys do go check them out at HUEL.com/rejects, you'll see that they got a whole bunch more items available as well. And if they taste anything as good as this, I'm going to be a very happy customer for a very, very long time. So join me on this health journey.
How did you think it looked? Because I know that people were a little concerned after the trailer.
Galactus?
No.
Of the movie?
Yes.
This is one of Marvel's best looking movies. Visual effects are I mean, it's really easy to notice when they don't look great. Like, sometimes the baby looks like a really fake baby.
That's true, especially the baby's arms at one point, I was like, "What is that?" But that's okay. I'd rather them treat the baby well on set
Yeah.
and give the baby breaks and give us a little bit of a fake baby sometimes.
Exactly. I'm not gonna ask much from a baby. And then, of course,
That
like
baby was a crap actor.
and of course, like, stretching moments is like, a lot of times I look great to stretch, but then other times it's like, "Yeah, okay, this looks a little weird." But beyond that, other than those couple of things, vast majority of the time, like, the art design of this world, the way they realize this, like, retro 1960s alt New York on a production level is gorgeous. And then on a visual effects level, CGI, the thing that people often are like, "Marvel's VFX artist, and it's just not looking good, it looks bad." It is undoubtedly one of the best looking MCU movies they've ever done. What
I
did you think?
completely agree. I think that's also part of why I really like Johnny. I thought that he just
It
looked
looked great. It looked great.
phenomenal.
So did Thing a lot of time, yeah.
Yeah, and I was a little nervous about Thing in the trailer because there was a one scene where I was like, I don't know if this is gonna vibe with him, but I thought that he looked awesome. I think that it was like exactly what I wanted him to look like, and there was not many moments where I flinched about the CG.
Yeah.
There really wasn't. Is this? I'm guessing the answer is an obvious yes, but this is your favorite Fantastic Four movie?
Yeah, oh, I mean, it's just like it's like 20 minutes in, you're like, "This is gonna be the best one."
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
Now that we've talked about all these things and moved around, so yeah, what did you think of the story and everything? Did you like the movie?
Yeah, the second that it's like set in for me was about 5 minutes into this, where I thought to myself, I love this. Like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna love this movie. And then it didn't let up. I love the story that they told. It did have a lot of emotional stakes. There was certain things that were a little predictable because I too know a lot of stories. But I didn't mind that. I think you're supposed to use the comics to and take parts that really are impactful and then
Yeah.
put them on the screen. That's what you're supposed to do. So while some of it was a little predictable, I loved the choices they made. And there was one point where it's a Johnny moment. I won't give it away, but he says something that I started tearing up because I just loved. I loved the way that he delivered it. Both Johnny and Sue really tugged at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
How did you feel about the story?
I think I would echo the exact same thing. Like, the moment it starts, you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be about the human side of them." Like, this
Really, the
the opening scene,
yeah.
and then the way they do how they catch you up on who I won't give it away, but the way they catch you up on who the Fantastic Four are, there's such a intentional sense of style, and
That probably took them so long, Greg.
it's looked like a pain, but it is one of the coolest things MCU has done, and there's so much wonder, like, when people watch The Incredibles and they're like, "Oh, this is finally like a Fantastic Four movie." This is the live action version, They really bring it to life,
Yes.
and the way the story progresses, like, it has wonder, it has heart, it has a lot of character-driven narrative. There's tension, like, there's genuine moments of, like, actual suspense, there's some really good action in here. I do think I don't want this to be taken out of context. The second half of this movie, I do think it's like there's so many great scenes and some of my favorite scenes. I do think there's a bit of a pacing thing that it kind of dragged a little bit in the second half.
Was it specific lines, characters, or just you felt like it was going a little slower?
I think the battle was actually within my head because I'm like, I know what the finale is supposed to sort of be because of the trailers, and I feel like they're stretching this out a little bit. But it's so important because so much of that is still character development. So much of that is still like they lean so much more into their intelligence than their powers, especially when it comes to Reed. And a lot of that is really hammered home in the second half of this movie when you're trying to like, how the hell do we take down Galactus? So much of that movie is about like trying to figure it out on paper, and they make it engaging. And I am wondering if it was just sort of like that anxious itch to be like, yeah, come, but I know where we're gonna go, and I want to see that actions, you know. So I do feel like there's a bit of a stretch there, but it's so minor to me, and I highly doubt most people will feel that.
I didn't feel that. One thing that I did feel though, as we're giving critiques on this, is that there was, without giving spoilers, the people, the citizens, for the most part, seemed to all kind of do what was asked of them. And I just thought about our world and how there would be such opposing forces, that I was like, okay, this is not our world. Like this is a whole different thing, and I'll save that for spoiler chat a different time. But that was kind of to me like, all right, this is convenient.
Yeah, I do feel weirdly, as much as there's a stretch part, I also feel like I could feel sometimes when I'm like, you definitely had to like cut some shit out,
But
huh?
something,
You definitely had to cut some shit out. You could just sort of put it together, and it's easier to detect. But honestly, like this, I don't want to get too hampered down by that because like
it was excellent.
my criticisms are so minor compared to the surprise experience of this, and I like it sounds like such a what's the word? Like an easy talking point to be like, this is one of Marvel's best, and I don't want to immediately say that because there's so many fucking Marvel movies.
But it
But
was really
but
that's what that
but it's pretty good, and you also don't need to know any of the other Marvel movies.
which I have been looking for a really long time. Greg, there have been 4 superhero movies this year. Captain America, which I know that you didn't love. I know.
Yeah.
Superman, Thunderbolts, and you loved Superman and Thunderbolts, and this movie, of course. Where does this lie after first viewing? We won't hold you to it. You guys probably will hold him to it. I know how you work.
It's weird. I actually feel like this movie's better put together in terms of like it's not like I can see some of the messy seams of editing and pacing when it comes to Superman, but Superman gave me more emotion that I really connected to. I do think this is a better constructed movie. Thunderbolts is more of the sensibilities I personally appeals. But I don't know. I guess I would say
The crazy thing about that, Greg, is you and I are on the exact same page when it comes to it. I actually think that this story-wise was so great and was so well crafted that it might be the best of those 4. But Superman is above this for
Yeah.
me, so I think I go just because of the emotional, personal impact
Yeah.
that movie had on me, and how much I love that character and how much Lois Lane impacted me. But this movie, I so am excited to see the future of Marvel because of this, which is really cool. So I would probably at this point go Superman, then this, then Thunderbolts, then Cap, which I still even liked Cap, but it's a good year for superhero movies so far.
Yeah, and especially for I mean, this is one of those experiences where you could watch these Superman and Fantastic Four, and they complement each other.
And how cool is
Yeah.
that in
That
2025, we have Superman and this movie in theaters at the same time? Like, come on, a Fantastic Four movie the same year
Yeah.
as Superman movie in theaters at the same time. We are spoiled.
Yeah, it's like both the retro vibes and that they just throw you in there. You don't need to do the origin. There's so many similarities in a lot of ways. They're both about family, like there's a lot of great similarities.
What did you think about like Paul Walter Hauser, Natasha Lyonne, the people that popped up that were kind of ancillary character or not big.
That is part of the especially when it comes to Paul Walter Hauser. There are people who are just laughing because they like Paul Walter Hauser, but I do feel like
He did get big laughs.
he did from like certain chunks of the crowd, right? But I do feel like it was not. It definitely needed to be more developed, and I think if it was more developed, I would have found it funnier
Okay.
what they were doing with him. Natasha Lyonne, who's she again?
That's from Orange is the New Black. She's got her show on Peacock Poker Face. She is the person I don't want to give it away, but Ben interacts with her.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, she was really charming. Yeah, yeah, she's really charming. I liked her, and I want to see that plot develop more.
Yeah, me too.
I like that they kept him Jewish, and the other part, yeah, I think
I know we saw
Paul Walter House.
I did. I feel like they were very lucky that they cast him because I don't know that I would have cared otherwise. And I always care about him. So I don't think luck actually has anything to do with it. They did that on purpose. They were like, we don't have a lot of time and we know you guys like him.
Yeah, and he just seemed like he's playing Paul Walter. Like I didn't. That was the time where I got pulled out, and I didn't feel like I was watching a character. I felt like I was watching a guy do the performance. So that's where I feel like I kind of dropped the ball. But before we go, undoubtedly one of the best things of any of the Marvel movies, this score by Michael Giacchino.
Oh yeah, I know.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was so good.
That's another thing we hear with Marvel is like a lot of times their score, like there's most of the time they just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But sometimes they get a good one. I think as a whole movie, the score is incredible. It is a big part of the personality of this film.
I love
And
the Thunderbolt music too, so yeah.
Yeah, so did I. But I think this one is probably their best score.
Yeah.
Like all around for a whole movie.
He did a great job, and I do think I'm with you that this was excellent. I don't know about the best, but very, very strong, really strong. So we have a mid credit and a post credit, which we won't spoil for you guys,
No.
of course.
No.
But how did you feel about that?
Mid-credit definitely is important, and the post-credit is, what I expected. Yeah. It was like,
GG.
one's gonna be funny and one's gonna be serious. I heard there were 2, and I immediately was like, one's funny, one's serious, and sure enough, I don't know if that's a spoiler, but
No.
definitely one is important to stick around for, and the other one I would still stick around. The other one's still great, and it still is, like, within the movie, and it fits the personality, but there is one that is very significant that does feel a little, I don't know, it's a little artificial.
Really?
It's just, like, the way
He got to tell you
I
though.
don't wanna, like, give it away, but the way it was shot, it's like, this is definitely that feels
We
like
dug it.
choreographed. Like, I love the idea and the intention, and I loved everything about it until, like, this 1 second where I was like, oh, yeah, I don't wanna say too much.
I obviously know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I don't wanna say too much, but I'm glad you liked it. But yeah, man, overall, I thought I think this is a great movie, and I think it's absolutely worth watching in theaters, and I got tickets to watch it again, and I'm absolutely gonna go watch it again. Like, I wanna see this on the Universal IMAX and see it with the full scope because, I was surprised by how beautiful it looks, and rare do I say that with an MCU movie of like,
Right.
this is a beautiful looking movie, and the sound is great too. So, yeah, they really I think Marvel's really turning a tide from Thunderbolts to this. I think they're really, and Daredevil Born Again before that, I think they're really turning a tide.
The most important part of this movie is I walked away loving the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because Marvel is banking on us loving the Fantastic Four. So, job well done, Marvel.
Good job, Marvel. Good job, comic book movies. What did you guys think? You probably haven't seen it yet, but when you do, leave your thoughts down below. What are you most looking forward to about this? If you made it this far, gonna have a few more Fantastic Four videos coming out this week, so keep a lookout. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks, Roxy, for joining in. Moi.
Hell yeah.